What is up? How's it going, fellas? Thanks for tuning in. Northeast Kayak Fishing TV. Tonight we have Kevin Amaral Jr., the Massachusetts Kayak Bassin Angler of the Year. Absolute stick in the Northeast. And honestly, he would probably be a stick anywhere in the country. So we're going to pick his brain a little bit tonight. Again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the support. The show's been doing really well. Got a lot of support, a lot of guys reaching out. So thank you for that. There's a donation link in the info box at the top of this video. It'll be at every video. I'm not begging for money. It's just there if you want to help. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to do these things. So anything helps. Let's see who we got in here. We got Kevin Amaral Sr., Chris LaCourse, Anthony DeLumba, Bruce Levy, Chris Catucci. They're all in the house right now. So we got some guests here. Guys, hit that like button. Smash that share button. Watch parties, do all that. We're going to bring Mr. Amaral Jr. on right now. Guys, make sure you hit the comments. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, what's up, Justin? How you doing, man?
Thanks for coming on the show. Should be a good night. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this to pick your brain a little bit. So hopefully they get in those comments. Hope you had good holidays. Christmas, New Year's, everything good?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Good.
Went home, saw my family, yeah.
What'd the old man get you for fishing? I know he had to get you some fishing stuff.
He doesn't get me anything because he doesn't want me to win.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Oh, man. That just made my night. The show can't get any better than that right now. Oh, God, that's great. All right, so we're going to get into it. When did you get into kayak fishing?
So my dad got me into fishing. We started off, we were fishing the bank. Eventually we got a John boat. That wasn't the best option. I mean, it was tough. We were rowing it instead of having a motor. But then eventually we got these like crappy little Pelican boats that we fished off of. The little like 10-foot kayaks. Eventually we got more and more into it. We started getting better equipment. And one day we were at this convention they have in Boxborough, where they have it every year,
right,
in January. And we saw that one of the vendors had kayak bass fishing tournaments, and we had never heard of that before. So then we signed up, we fished for them for a little while, and then we just got more and more into it.
That's awesome. Do you remember what club that was, or?
Yeah, it was Annie Bassin.
Oh, it was the Annie Bassin, yeah.
The Cape Cod division.
Right. So you guys were fishing all the way out in Cape Cod. Did you guys live out there before, or no?
No, we drove from Bristol, Rhode Island to fish that tournament. At that time, there wasn't a Rhode Island league.
Right. And so that was the only thing that got you into it. You guys just bumped into them at the show, and
it was random. Yeah,
that was it.
Neither of us had ever heard of kayak bass fishing before.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know anything about it till I saw it on TV. Probably like, I don't know, 5 years ago.
It's really blown up since then.
Yeah, it's huge. I can't imagine the guys that started doing this back when Chad started like 10 years ago. I can't imagine they thought it would be at the level it is now. We kind of jumped in right in the middle, and I still can't believe the explosion and how fast it's growing. Hopefully it doesn't grow too fast and things don't spin out of hand. But with all the options now, I think we got something for everybody. When did you start in MAKB?
So we were fishing the Annie Bassin League, and then one day I was like looking stuff up online, And I saw that there was an event on Cook Pond in Fall River, which is a place that I grew up fishing. And I was like, well, I don't know what this league is, but I'll sign up because I know the lake. And that's when I met all the guys in MAKB.
How did that event turn out? How'd you place in that event?
So I only caught 4 fish that event, but I caught lunker, and I didn't know that they had a lunker. I remember it was like an 18 and a half, but it was a really fat one.
Right.
And I caught the lunker and I didn't even know. Like Bruce, I think Bruce was the guy who told me that I was going to get paid for that.
How old were you then?
22,
22.
23. Yeah.
How old are you now?
25.
Yeah, so that was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's great to see you young guys out there competing at a high level. I was talking to Katucci about it earlier. It makes, at least me, but I'm pretty sure the other older guys too. I mean, it makes us feel good about where the sport's going and knowing that it's going to have guys like you to help out the younger guys when they come in to start. So it makes us
Definitely.
feel really good.
It doesn't feel good when Chris wins every event, though.
It's your fault. He said it was your fault. He said you're the one that made him want to be better because you were crushing it 2 years ago in RIKB when you won Angler of the Year in 2018.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he took over though.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
just
did this year.
this year.
This year he was unbelievable. We got to put a stop to him.
We got to figure out what he's doing out there.
It seems like it doesn't matter what he does. You catch him on anything. The last episode with Joe, we were talking about it, saying how Katucci be catching him on hot dogs out there.
I know he asks for hooks a lot.
Yeah, he does. He forgets his tackle. He just brings a empty cardboard box and catches fish. Oh, that's crazy. You remind me of Katucci a lot. How you stay focused, and it seems like nothing bothers you on the water, no matter the conditions. How do you do that? How do you stay so focused?
Well, I don't overcomplicate things out there. I mean, I have things that I do well, and I just stick with it. I mean, I only bring, I think, 3 rods with me every tournament. Um, I have a small amount of tackle. I mean, I just do the thing. I fish the way that I want to fish, and I stick with it. If it's not working, I switch things up a little bit every once in a while, but I stick with what I do.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus from most successful people in fishing is sticking to what they do, making minor adjustments to what they do to compensate for the stage that the fish are in. So yeah, that makes sense. Walk us through like a typical tourney prep for you. Like say you going to travel to Lake George, for instance. What would your tourney prep be, say, a week out to arriving the day before?
So for Lake George, I mean, I did a lot of research online, trying to figure out, the water depth, the clarity. I look up like tournament results of like how people have done in the past there. Um, when it came down to getting there, I mean, we pre-fished for a couple hours the day before. I don't really pre-fish that much. Um, Lake George was a kind of a rare scenario though, because as soon as we got on the water, it seemed like they were biting everywhere, and every bite was a big fish. So it's sort of a unique scenario, but yeah,
I can't wait to go back there.
it's a great fishery.
It
I mean,
is.
it seemed like every fish I was hooking was over 16.
Right. I did horrible, but my own mental mistakes. So I can't wait to go back there and redeem myself because I know the fish were there. I caught some of them, couldn't keep them on the board. So I can't wait to go back there.
Yeah, the tournament actually was different than how the fish were acting in pre-fishing, which is why I don't really like pre-fishing to begin with.
Right? Yeah.
Um, I was
When
flipping.
I pre-fished, I found them on docks, and so first thing in the morning, that's what I did. And then they weren't there. I went out towards the middle and deeper water, and I caught a 19 and a half. I flopped off the board, which ruined my day. But like you said, yeah, pre-fishing can change everything.
Yeah, when we pre-fished it, I was catching them up shallow on docks, and come the morning of the tournament day, things were completely different, and I moved offshore. It worked out. I found some big smallmouth off of an island. Um, but yeah, you really never know how the lake's going to turn out on tournament day.
Right. Uh, I'm gonna walk. We're gonna bring up a Tourney X picture right here. Uh, I'm gonna say in your MAKB season this year, this tournament right here probably sealed the deal, and was probably the toughest bite. I only know because I was there, and it was the most horrible day of fishing in my life. So we're gonna bring it up. This is Long Pond in Plymouth. That was a horrible day. You didn't win the tournament, but knowing the position that you were in the season, this was a tournament that if you finished well in, because since everybody else did horrible, you were going to seal up the Angler of the Year. So let's just walk us through that Long Pond tournament, what you decided to do, how you caught them.
Sure. So actually, when I was fishing with Annie Basson, we fished this lake, a Long Pond in Plymouth. So I'd fished there once before, and that tournament was terrible. I mean, I actually got second place in that tournament, and I caught one 14-inch smallmouth. Um, so I knew that it was going to be tough. There in that tournament, you could fish the bigger Long Pond, and there's little Long Pond, which was in the back. I knew right off the bat I was not going into the big lake because of how tough it was in the past when I was there. I pre-fished the little lake and did okay. I caught a couple like 15-inch fish off of there's like one little island in the middle of it. So I knew I was going to go there on tournament day. Um, when the tournament came around, it was tough again. I mean, it was not an easy tournament to catch fish in. Let's see, it looks like I caught three that were like 15 and two 8 inches.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
2 8-inchers.
did what I needed to do, I guess, but it was a tough day for
I would have
everyone.
died for some 8-inchers. I want to say I caught 2 fish that day. It was horrible.
I was sandbagging too because I know people got mad, but there was a small lake, and I didn't want to upload and have people like hanging out with me.
Right. Yeah, I sandbag too, for that very reason.
There's no reason to upload.
Right. In these smaller tournaments and around here with our smaller bodies of water, you have to sandbag. Everybody can see you from anywhere on the lake. So if you upload 520s, you're going to have 5 guys sitting right next to you.
That's right. I mean, I learned that in the year that I won Angler of the Year for Rhode Island Kayak Bass. And I mean, I would upload and I'd have people around me. And after that year, I don't do it anymore.
Right. Next, I'm going to bring up a first place finish for you. This is Upper and Lower Mystic. You finished first place, a half-inch ahead of Bruce. Bruce, if you're still watching, Junior got you again. Walk us through that tournament.
So this was a good one. I actually, before this tournament, I told my mom, I was talking to her, I was like, I'm going to do terrible in this tournament because I knew nothing about the lake. I didn't look up anything. I mean, I just went out there. I launched it in the the upper. I guess you could fish the upper lake and the lower lake. I went north. To start the tournament, I wasn't really catching anything. I mean, I was trying a bunch of different tactics, and nothing seemed to be working. So I mean, I just decided to pedal all the way to the northernmost section of the lake, and I found this lily pad section that was just magical. I don't know what it was, but I caught all my fish, and there's some big ones, in this one small section of lily pads on a Cinco.
Wacky rigged?
Hmm. It was the only tournament all year where I threw a Cinco.
Wow.
Hmm.
So you caught let's bring them up. You caught a 20.25. That's a fat fish. Yeah, you can see some lily pads there on the edge of that picture.
And you can see the young dingers in the photo.
Yeah. That's great. 19 and a half. That was a long, skinny one. That's a kayak fish all day.
I caught them all in like the same short window too. I mean,
18
they
and
were
a
all
half.
close to each other.
Yeah, by the look of your pics and the way the sun is and everything, it doesn't look like, you know how some pictures you'll see that one's real dark and then the next one's super bright because of different
Right.
times of day. You can see that those were actually I could see the times.
Yeah, look at what the last time was that I uploaded a fish.
You caught one at 7, 8:46, 9:22, 9:09, 6:30. So your latest was 9:22 in the morning.
After that, I really didn't catch anything.
Wow.
I was just hoping that Bruce couldn't catch me.
He caught some good fish too.
Yeah,
He caught a
crushed it.
20, 18.75, 18.25, and 2.16.25s. You got two of the same fish, Bruce.
He does that. You have to watch out for him.
Oh man, that's great.
Actually, when I caught that 20 and a quarter, I sent him because he had uploaded his fish already. He already had over 80 inches early.
Right.
So when I caught the 20, I uploaded them all, and I was like, game on.
I remember this day actually. I was watching this on the live Tourney X. I think I had a cookout or something that I had to do that day, and I was watching it, and it was crazy watching all the big fish that were being caught and the way the standings were changing. I wish I was there.
It was definitely a good lake. I mean, there were a lot of good fish in there.
All right, I know we touched on this a little bit, and I know it doesn't have anything to do with MAKB, but we got to talk about it. Lake George, 133 anglers in this tournament, and you finish 5th place.
Mm-hmm.
Walk us through that. I know we talked a little bit about it, but get in depth a little bit about how this went down, how you were feeling coming into check-in, about how you did.
So actually, it was a struggle. I mean, not the fishing, but the tournament itself, because I didn't have any service where I was on the lake. So I spent a long time trying to upload fish and worried about if my fish were even going to count. I actually, at one point in the day, I had to buy extra service, extra data, because my phone plan ran out because I didn't have any service. Like I was dying out there. But yeah, in pre-fish, I mean, I could tell that the lake was just on fire where I was. So I went back to that same area, which I'm not going to say because we're going back to this year. But I went back there.
I know.
Tournament day, yeah, you know. I was fishing offshore stuff. That's how I like to fish. I mean, I like fishing out deep, fishing for smallmouth, you know, out in points and islands. And yeah, I found this one island that I caught both. There's 219 smallmouth that I caught basically back to back. Earlier in the morning, I found this point that I caught the other fish at.
What were you catching them on?
I was throwing a jig. like
No,
Jig and Jill.
nobody's gonna believe you right now. Those are two nice smallmouth, 19 inches. I had one that looked just like it. Flop off my board, knock my phone out of my hand, destroy my whole day.
That's tough. I mean, the smallmouth are tough to keep on the board.
They are. They stab you with those spiny fins, man. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Gloves are a must. I think I have to wear gloves next time. It was.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back on that lake.
Yeah, me either. And that fish just caught me in the moment. It was hit my phone out of my hand with its tail, and then I was just like, "What do I do? Do I hold the fish? Do I go for the phone?" In that split second, gone.
Damn.
Oh man, I still have nightmares.
Look who's at number one there. I mean, Ken had an even better day.
Yeah,
gotta give him props.
He crushed it. And
is that 20 and a half? Is that a smallmouth?
I think so. Yeah. That is a giant fish.
That's a beast.
I think he brought it with him. He caught it at Erie and brought it there.
Mm.
All smallies, I think he caught. Nope, he's got one largemouth. Two largemouth. That was a great tournament. 3 largemouth. Yeah, so his 2 biggest were smallies, and then the other 3 were largemouth. All you guys in the top 5, top 6, 7. I mean, you guys all had great days.
I mean, look at that. There's 7 guys that had over 90 inches.
Yeah. Yep.
You have Greg Blanchard there.
Blanchard, Brundle. I mean, talk about that. How do you feel? You finished against 2 of those guys. I mean, you finished ahead of them. Brundle was Rookie of the Year, won the Northeast region. I mean, that's got to mean something to you, man.
I mean, yeah, it's nice, but I mean, those guys. I mean, Derek and Ken, they're both in the top 10. I mean, KBF Angler of the Year. I mean, they're going down to Florida to fish that event down there.
I think you got a chance, man. This is the only trail event you fished this year, right?
I fished Winnipesaukee.
Oh too. Yeah, that was a kick in the shorts, man.
That was tough.
Real tough. Another one that I had a great day pre-fishing, and then tournament day, I couldn't find them again. I found them on those bluffs. I was catching them on a shaky head. I went back there and nothing. And I wasn't even catching most of the fish that were biting on when I was pre-fishing. I wouldn't set the hook, nothing. I figured I'd go back, they'd be there. I think I caught 2 fish that day.
Did you catch any of the rock bass? It seemed like they were everywhere.
Yeah, I caught a few rock bass. I hate those things. Aaron caught the big bass of the day.
How big was that?
A 20 and a half, I think. Smallie.
Wow, nice. Yeah, you guys were up where I was, right?
Yeah, we launched at the same launch, but we went all the way into that cove in the back, like as far as you could go from there. That's where we had found them, and we figured that most people weren't going to go all that way. I mean, it took us probably...
That was a long pedal to get up there.
Yeah, it took us probably half hour, 45 minutes to get all the way in there. So that was one of the main reasons why we went there. We had found fish, and it was away from the ramp. I think it was 1.5 miles from the ramp. But I couldn't find them on tournament day. Aaron did better than I did, but even he struggled. He ended up cashing a check.
That's nice. You get something out of it.
Yeah.
I forget.
Not bad for his, well, I think that was his second trail event of his rookie season.
It's always good to catch a nice big smallmouth, too.
Yeah. And it was crazy. He dropped his net into the water. So he's trying to hold the fish, get his net, his poles flopping all over. Oh, it was a mess. I'm so surprised he didn't lose that fish. And then he takes a picture of it and doesn't put his hand on it. Like, just put the fish on the board and took a picture. It's sketchy.
That's a risk if you're doing that with a smallmouth.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. We had a good time. We went camping up there. The whole family, my mom, my cousins, we all went camping up there. It was a good time. That's one thing I like about traveling these trail events, going up there and go camping.
Definitely. I mean, the scenery in both Lake George and Winnipesaukee, I mean, it looked amazing. The fishing was a little tougher on Winnipesaukee, but
Bruce Levy, he's got the upper mystic and then the crying emoji. And not crying, laughing.
Hey, he had close to 90 inches.
Yeah, he did.
He had a good day out there.
Joe Brancato, Amaral's always killing it. Dean Powers, Justin Lacasse, you are the top sandbagger. I am. I'm not going to lie. I always sandbag. Or I just didn't catch fish. One or the other. But you can't... you can't think that I'm just not catching fish, because I'm going to wait till the end.
I think you did that on Smith and Sales for one of the events, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's my favorite place, too. I will always sandbag there. I lost 2 good fish that day. I would have got first place. What had happened, I was using a 360 swim bait, and I didn't realize the hook didn't have a barb on it till after I lost the second fish. And I was like, what the hell? I mean, what is going on? And I looked at the hook and there was no barb on it. Once I switched, I mean, I started catching them. I was catching them the same way on that little 360 swim bait and swim jig. You did it at Indian Lake too. You sandbag. You put up a couple of little dinks and then waited till the end. I was out there. Somebody had said something to me like, "Oh, Junior must be struggling," and I was like, "No, there's no way. He's only got a 12-inch fish and a 13-inch fish. There's no way."
That's, if you don't put any fish up, it looks like you're sandbagging. But if you upload like a 12, a 13, people are gonna be like, "Oh, he's just having a tough day."
Corey Levesque, Lake George is huge, but it's big. But till you've gone down south to like Toledo Bend and places like that, man, that's huge. Toledo Bend, I want to say was like 65 miles long. That's huge. But to us, I mean, everything's huge. Our biggest pond is 1,000 acres, I think. I think Warden's is 1,000 or 1,100.
I'm not going back there.
No. I like Warden's. It's tough, but if you can find them, it can be a real good day.
What, that little river area at the top right?
Don't tell nobody. Oh, that's great. Who else is on here? Chris Gomes, Kid's a Beast. Corey Levesque, I'm fishing it this year. I think he's talking about Lake George. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's about it for comments.
How did Toledo Bend compare to like the size of Gunnersville? Is it like the same size, or?
I'm gonna say I haven't looked at exactly the length of Gunnersville, but from looking at the maps, I would say they're probably close. Maybe Gunnersville might actually be a little more because you got the long Tennessee River coming in, and that's all in play for us for the NC. But I've been studying that map a lot. I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I've been looking at Navionics recently, trying to find some areas to fish,
I got pages of notes. Pages.
It's a massive lake.
It is.
You could fish for smallmouth up near the dam at the top. I mean, obviously you can fish for big largemouth.
Right. That's my plan is big largemouth. I want to walk out of there with a double-digit bass. It's been a long time since I've caught a double-digit bass.
When was the When were the other times that you caught that?
I caught a double
10.
digit. I caught a 10. I want to say I was 19, 18 or 19. So that was 20 years ago. That was in Mass, in a little tiny pond on the edge of a golf course. Uh, and you're from around here, so you've probably driven by this place. Uh, I'm not going to, I'll tell you in private, but I'm not going to put it on blast on here.
Smart.
And then the other time was in Maine. When I was a little kid, man, I was like 9 years old. The scale I had said it was a double digit bass. I don't really know. I mean, I was a young kid and using the cheapest stuff possible. But it said it was an 11.6.
Wow.
Which would probably be their state record. So I don't know. I don't know the exact size of that. I was only like 9 years old. Joe Brancato said Wardens is the best. Chris Gomes hate Wardens. You either love it or you hate it, man.
Joe did well on that lake. I mean, he had a good year.
Yeah. Corey says George is 28,479 acres. It's big. It's about 28,000 times bigger than anything we have.
And we got lucky that it wasn't windy too. I mean, I was fishing Main Lake stuff. And
yeah,
it was flat calm.
I went across the lake after I had my mental breakdown. I went across the lake and it was. I caught fish, but I couldn't find the right size fish.
Yeah.
All right, what's my next question? When fishing a new body of water, what's the first thing you're looking for?
Typically, I'm looking to just catch a limit. So I like to be away from other people, which normally means I'm going to fish more offshore because I feel like typically people, they go around the bank. So I look for an area offshore that not a lot of people are in. And typically I try and get the furthest away from the launch as I can because most people aren't going to cross the lake. Just because we fish small bodies of water and there's only so many fish to go around.
Right.
So I'm trying to fill out a limit. And then from there, I try and upgrade. I usually switch to a jig when I'm trying to upgrade from a small limit.
Yeah, that seems you can catch the numbers on the plastic and the bigger ones on the jig. Now, like structure wise, on a new body of water, what's something you look for?
It depends. If it's a lake with a lot of grass, I'll probably go head towards the grass, the lily pads. If there's down trees, I mean, everyone knows that that's going to hold fish.
Right.
But for me, I look for drop-offs, points, and islands because I feel like that's your best bet to catch a big fish offshore.
Now, before you launch, do you know where you're going, or do you just kind of wing it?
I usually have an idea, but then it depends where everyone else is going. Like we had a MAKB tournament on John's Pond this year. I had a plan where I was going to go in this little section that I didn't think anyone was going to go to, but we took off and there was like 7 guys all headed in there. So I saw that and I changed paths and I ended up finding an area randomly that was holding fish.
That's always good. I'm kind of the same way. I know where I'm going, but if I see a lot of people going towards that spot, I just leave it alone and hope that I can go pick some out of it later after they leave. Mm-hmm. And do you have any sponsors?
No.
Nothing. No pro staff, teams. You don't represent nobody.
Just myself.
Just yourself. And your family, your wonderful family. Mm-hmm. They support you a bunch. I know that. Why don't you? Do you just not want to, or you don't reach out, or?
I mean, I haven't tried
right
to reach out to anyone. If I were to have a sponsor, I'd probably want someone that rods and reels or baits that I use.
Right, obviously, yeah. I mean, I know some guys that just will put any logo on their jersey, but uh, I know you're the type of guy that would definitely only represent something that you use.
Right.
So if these companies did reach out to you, you would definitely do it, or it's not something you're interested in.
I probably would do it. I mean, I guess it depends what they're offering,
Right.
right? If they're going to give me money, sure. I mean,
Money's always good.
yeah. I mean, that's why people do it, right? I mean,
Yep.
I use all loose reels. I mean rods, and
I'm a lose guy through and through. There isn't another reel I'll use. Uh, FX custom rods. Everybody knows that if they watch me fish or watch my Facebook feed.
I did just buy a Shimano Corrado though,
Did you?
switching it up a little bit. Yeah.
Everybody's jumping on those things. I'm gonna have to try one. I don't know.
I just keep hearing how they're the best reel out there. So
Right. You got the DC. Yeah. Your top 5 anglers of all time can be anybody.
I think you probably have to put KVD at 1. Rick Clunn, he's got a lot of titles and wins.
Still winning.
Right. I like Brandon Polinick, so I'll put him up there. We'll say Iconelli, just because he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
And Swindell.
Yeah, Swindle, man. I love that guy. I follow everything he does on social media. He is awesome.
I also like Brian Latimer. He's got a great YouTube channel. He fishes the FLW
right.
side.
He just switched to bass.
Right, yeah, which I think is a good move.
Yeah, I think so too. He's a really good guy. He's always doing things for the community. Katucci says, no sponsor gang. You and him both, the top dogs, man, and neither one of you sponsored by anybody.
How do you even go about getting a sponsor? Do you reach out to them?
We can talk about that in private. I think that's something that I'm kind of good at as far as like marketing and things like that. Look at me, I'm no hammer up here, and I got companies that support me. It's really about marketing. I mean, you got to be out there on the water and showing how the product is used, and at least be trying to compete at a high level. But you don't have to be the top dog. You don't have to be winning everything in order to get the sponsor. Obviously, if you're winning everything, and they're going to offer you a lot more. But I think at a starting point, you got to contact them. You know what I mean? But we'll talk about more in-depth stuff in private if you're interested. What other comments we got? Zachary Smuss was asking if it was the DC. He loves his DC. Chris Gomes, Shimano is the best. Nah. Go team lose. Zachary Smuss, Seth Fighter. He put Seth Fighter on there. I love Seth Fighter. I wouldn't put him in my top 5, but he is awesome.
He's the guy that does the donkey thing, right?
Yeah, llama.
Oh, llama.
Yeah. Yep. The dude is probably the best smallmouth fisherman out there. He kills it on any smallmouth body of water. I know KVD is supposed to be the man at smallmouth, but I think on a one-on-one, it's going to Fighter every time. Your dad said Swindle is hilarious. Yeah, he is, man. He is hilarious and so honest. I don't know what Corey's saying. Joe Cumpson is a good guy. I don't know who that is. Educate me, Corey. I don't know who that guy is.
Does he fish for MLF?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't really watch that one.
I watch MLF only because it's on so much. They put it on way more than Bassmaster and FLW.
How do you feel about the no limit though?
The MLF No Limit,
Yeah.
I like it. You have to find a pattern. It's not about just getting 5 good bites. When you're out there in a boat with a 275 or 300 or whatever on the back of that thing, I mean, you can go to 20 different spots on a lake and catch 5 fish. In MLF, you have to be able to catch, sometimes 100 fish in order to win.
Right.
So I feel there's place for both. I still like the 5 bass limit because I like seeing 5 big fish come into the weigh-in. I think with all the concerns about fish health and stuff like that, I think they're going to have to come up with a better way of doing it. Fish are
Right.
definitely...
Rather than carrying the fish around all day in the live well.
Right. I don't agree with that part of it. I think they definitely have to come up with a better system for the future of the sport anyways. But I think I like both. I'll watch any kind of fishing. I mean, I watch regular fishing shows, man. I watch Zona's fishing show. I still watch Jimmy Houston.
Yeah, Zona's the best.
Yeah,
He's funny.
Zona is funny. His show is always exciting. I was just watching it yesterday with Wesley Strader, who is one of my top 5. Just those guys from that area, Wesley Strader and Gerald Swindle, that Alabama, Tennessee area, man, they are funny.
Southern guys.
Yeah. I love Southern guys. I'm definitely out of place up here. Let's see what other comments we got. Corey Levesque says that guy's from Australia. He's the new guy in Bassmasters. Carl Joe Cumpson. I'm not sure. I'll have to look him up. What's your goals for 2020?
I'd like to break my PB smallmouth next year.
What's that?
So I need around 21 inches, probably close to 5 at that point. I'd like to win a major event, whether that's, KBF or Hobie or
Right.
Bass. That's really it.
Those are your only 2 goals?
Mm-hmm.
I think you could win a major event. I really do. Last year at Messalonsky, what place did you come in?
I think I was 4th or 5th in that one.
You were up there in that one too. You got to fish more events, man. It'll come. If you put the time in on the road, you're gonna win one.
Well, I'm hoping I do well at the national championship too, because I'm heading down there.
Right. I can't wait to go down there. I'm gonna be down there. I'm leaving here on the 26th of March, so I'll be down there for a whole week.
Same, I think so too. I'm leaving that weekend.
Yeah. I'm gonna get as much pre-fishing as I can. Probably gonna rent a bass boat.
Nice.
It's not that expensive. Look into it. Things are cheap down there. They don't bend you over like they do up here.
Yeah, the rental place that we got was really cheap.
Yeah, we're paying like $20-something a night.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's camping. It's camping, but I mean, $20 a night. They got showers. They had everything. I mean, for $20 a night, we got a pop-up camper, so it's not like we're sleeping on the ground.
As long as you got electricity.
Yeah,
right?
We got electricity, water, everything for $20 a night. It's split between 3 guys. That's it cost us nothing to stay there. So we'll put the money into renting a bass boat and fly around that place for a day. I
Nice.
couldn't afford to rent it for a few days, but I mean we could probably do a day.
Yeah, you get to cover some water, try
Yeah,
out some
at
areas that
least
you probably
at least find a few different areas, and then the rest of the week go hit it with the kayaks and find a pattern. Your dad says no Charlie Moore. You didn't put Charlie Moore on that list.
that guy sucks.
Yeah, I can't stand him. I can't watch him.
It catches a 1 pound dinks and he has a
Yeah,
show about it.
how does that guy have a show? He's so obnoxious. Chris Gomes is leaving that Saturday night and heading down. Yeah, we're leaving. It's a Thursday night. I'm hoping to leave Thursday night. We'll see what happens.
I hope to have a torpedo by then. I've been looking into it. I think it'll help me cover more water, especially on a lake that big.
It definitely will. That's a game changer for a lot of people. Being able to cover that much water. I had a trolling motor last year. I just couldn't deal with the weight of battery and all that stuff. But with a torpedo, there really isn't that much weight. I just can't afford a torpedo.
Yeah, they're crazy expensive. But the thing is that they're so light. I mean,
yeah, Jason Gardner met all of us here at my house before the Lake Anna event, and he had one. And I picked it up out of the back of his truck, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. That thing weighed a couple of pounds.
yeah, it's a game changer.
It really is. I just can't afford one.
I heard that event was really tough, Lake Anna.
Really tough. Boy, I will never go back there.
I'm glad I missed that
They
one.
could have the national championship on that place, and I will not go. That place is horrible. Ugh. 75 guys or something didn't catch a single fish. I mean, you can't have a tournament on a place like that.
That's brutal.
That's brutal. I don't think anybody wants to go back there. I mean, the conditions sucked. The water was chocolate milk. But, I mean, even through my research, I knew it was going to be tough. I mean, the place is nicknamed One Fish Anna because people go there and catch one fish. Well, 75 of us went there and caught no fish. So I'll call it No Fish Anna.
That's tough. You drive all the way down there.
And then I ended up getting a toothache the night before, which made it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a brutal time that was. That was my most hated kayak fishing moment was the Lake Anna tournament. Between the toothache and the horrible fishing, yeah, I don't ever want to do that again. How about the Susquehanna? You going there?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm trying to decide how I'm going to make my schedule for next year. I'm not really interested in doing the East-West Harbor at all.
Yeah, me either.
I'm going to go to Lake George, but I'm thinking, if I do one KBF event, that's really not going to do much for me standing wise.
No, yeah, it's your best two that count in the region.
Right. So maybe I'll do George and the Susquehanna.
Right. That's my plan too. And then the East-West is last, so if you absolutely need it in order to qualify or get the points or whatever, it's there. I'll go if I absolutely need it, but I'm hoping to qualify for regional in those first two.
Yeah, because that regional event that Jason's putting on, it looks like it's going to be a good one.
It is. I have all the faith in the world in Jason Gardner. He puts the sport first, well above himself. So I definitely have all the faith that event is going to be amazing.
Right. I mean, he and Ken are really doing a lot for, New England.
They are. Ken has a lot on his plate. I mean, he's going to the 10 and everything. I don't know how much involvement he really has. I know he posted the other day that it was all Jason, but Ken is also the guy that doesn't like to be patted on the back.
I mean, just look at the league he runs. I mean,
Right.
he's got like 30 guys showing up to events.
Right.
I mean,
He does a great job. If you ask me, he is the number one guy in this area for running a club, and setting the standard for running clubs. I mean, we don't copy Ken, but I just realized I didn't change that graphic. It still says Ocean State Angler of the Year. Oh man. See, guys, I hate graphics. I was talking about it the other night. Oh, I need somebody to do the graphics.
just Photoshop it on there.
Yeah, I will. But yeah, he helped me start this Ocean State. I know he helped RJ start RIKB. So he pretty much sets the standard for this area. So I have all the faith that that event is going to be fantastic. I went to the Susquehanna 2 years ago, I think it was. That was a great fishery. You want to talk about catch fish all day long? You can catch fish there all day long.
That's what I hear. Yeah, it's supposed to be a really great smallmouth fishery.
Yeah.
I just don't know about the current.
When I went, it was super high. I only fished a 100-yard stretch, man. I fished a current break where a creek came into the main river. Fished a 100-yard stretch and caught fish all day long. I don't know what place I finished, 15th or something like that. I didn't have any giant fish, but it was fun. You know what I mean? Caught fish all day long.
Right. I'm thinking I might do the there's a Hobie event on Lake Erie, so I was thinking about doing that, and I was thinking of doing some of the events up in the Adirondack KBF in New York.
Yeah, those are good guys.
Some of those, so.
And they have a lot of good fisheries up there. Plus, it's a beautiful place.
Right. I mean, they have an event on the St. Lawrence, which I already booked.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
That'd be an awesome place to fish.
I'm more excited to fish that than I am Gunnersville.
Yeah, but Gunnersville's for a whole lot of money.
That's true.
A lot of money. All right, man. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. You can thank anybody you want to thank. And like I said, thanks for coming on. And I'm sure you'll be on here again. You're going to win some more tournaments this year. I know it. So we'll roll the red carpet out for you. You can thank anybody you want to thank.
All right. I guess just thanks for having me. Thanks my dad for getting me into fishing. I mean, he's the whole reason why I know what I'm doing. Sometimes. That's all. And thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Anytime. Thank you for coming on here. Thanks for being such a great ambassador of the sport. And we'll be talking to you soon about national championship and things like that. So have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Northeast Kayak Fishing TV. Like I said, I forgot to change the graphic. That was the MAKB Angler of the Year. I know the graphics said Ocean State. That's my bad. Still trying to work out all the kinks on this stuff. We got any more comments on here? Go over a few things. Amaral Senior 2018 RIKB Angler of the Year. And 2019 MAKB Angler of the Year. Maybe keep the graphic in case Junior wins OSKB in 2020. No, I'm winning it in 2020. Corey Levesque, awesome interview. Thanks for watching, Corey. Thanks, everybody, for watching. You guys hit that share button. Share it with all your friends. If you know anybody that you think should be on the show, hit me up. I'll get in touch with them. We'll have them get in touch with me. We have tomorrow night, John Ferreira from 3X's Fishing. We're going to talk about the tackle that he makes. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about some of his tournaments. John's a stick. So we'll talk about that stuff with him. Next week on Top Dawgs, it's Brian from Adirondack KBF. He was their Angler of the Year. We'll have him on, and the list goes on from there. We're booked up all the way into February. I think I only have like 3 dates left in February. So everything's filling up. If you want to be on here, you got to get in touch with me. Because once the season starts, things are probably going to slow down a little bit. When I go to the national championship, we'll do some filming down there. Maybe do some live stuff at night. Talk about how things are going down there. Interviews with some of the Northeast guys that made the trip down there. I'm going to try to do that at all the trail events that I go to. We'll interview other guys in the region. Should be interesting. But thanks for watching, guys. Tune in tomorrow night and watch John Ferreira talk about the tackle that he makes for 3X's Fishing. We'll see you next time.